I recommend grabbing a couple pillows. They don't have to be a fancy yoga bolster, but I just grabbed a couple off my couch. So go ahead and grab a couple pillows. If you need a couple minutes, I'll be talking for a few. And then eventually make your way back to your mat or the carpet or even just a place on the floor. And today we're going to have a really simple practice. I went to a webinar yesterday that was hosted by the founders of the Holistic Life Foundation, and everything that they talked about came back to this need for the practice. It wasn't even a want, it was a genuine need, and it was vital. And it was as simple as a breath, or a few breath exercises, or a couple of small movements. And it was just very profound. Everything came back to having a practice that brings us back to our intention. So we're going to start out reclined, and I'm going to stay seated, but you guys go ahead and come all the way back down onto your mats. I suggest the head facing away from the computer. Eventually we'll make our way back up. But everybody come down onto your back. I'll give you a couple minutes to get there. And then once you're down, laying on the back, you can either have the legs straight, or you can bend the knees, bringing the feet out wide, letting the knees fall in towards one another. The arms can be down by the sides with the palms facing up, or the palms can be down, or the hands can even be interlaced over the belly. And sometimes that can be really nice to bring us back to that breath. And then once you do, just start to notice. We're not trying to change anything or even define it yet. We're just noticing. Feeling the rise and fall of the belly or the chest. Feeling the expansion and the contraction of the inhales and the exhales. And then in a few moments, I'll invite you to move into a couple breath practices, and they'll involve this audible breath. And if you can imagine it, it's like when you exhale, you're fogging up a mirror, but you're keeping your mouth closed. And we'll take a couple rounds of this, so you'll have a few times to try it out. And like I said, it's always an invitation. So if you just want to lay here and breathe on your own, that's completely up to you. But inhaling through the nose, feeling the lower belly rise. And as you exhale, start to feel a slight constriction and pulling the chin towards the chest. And then letting the breath out as if you're fogging up a mirror, but keeping the mouth closed. Inhaling, lifting the head back up. Hold the breath, bring the chin to the chest. And as you exhale, it's as if you're fogging up a mirror. Bringing the head back to neutral. Inhaling, feeling the lower belly rise. Hold for a moment and then bring the chin to the chest. And as you exhale, it's that audible breath, bringing the head back to neutral. 2 more rounds just like that. Inhale, feeling the lower belly rise. Before you exhale, bringing the chin to the chest, and it's that audible exhale. Head back to neutral. Inhaling, feeling the lower belly rise. And then as you exhale, the chin comes to the chest, and then letting that breath out audibly through the nose. Coming back to center, and then starting to wiggle the fingers or the toes, just bringing a little sensation, a little movement back in. And if the legs are out straight, start to bend the knees, bringing the soles of the feet down onto the mat. And if the feet are towards the outer edges of the mat, start to walk them back in towards one another, so they're just about 6 to 8 inches apart. And then from there, you'll start to pull the right knee into the chest. Maybe the hands come onto the outsides of the shin. Maybe the hands come onto the backs of the thigh. And then maybe the knee starts to move a little bit, finding circles or just a movement forwards or backwards. Gently release the right leg down and switching legs. The left knee pulls into the chest. And then from here, again, maybe you stay in stillness or you start to find those little circles. Movement forward and back. And as you do, checking back in with the breath, just noticing if it's already lost or it's not quite there. And bringing yourself back to it, feeling the inhales and the exhales. And then gently release the left leg back down. And then from here, rolling over onto the side, either to the left or to the right. And we'll meet in a comfortable seat at the top of the mat. You guys can face the computer and I'll face you. And I'll start out by mirroring you so it'll look as if I'm doing the same side as you guys. So I'll actually be doing the opposite. Taking your time, eventually once you get up to a comfortable seat, there's a couple pillows laying around. I like to elevate the hips just a little bit. It takes some of the pressure off of the knees and it's a little bit more comfortable. And then from here, you can either have the legs in neutral with the feet grounded, or you can come to a comfortable seat with the legs crossed, whichever one feels better for you. So meeting in a comfortable seat, maybe the legs are in neutral, maybe we're in easy seat, and then bringing the hands onto the thighs. And we'll begin just finding that breath again, inhaling through the nose, feeling the chest or the lower belly expand. And as you exhale, letting the head and the neck and the shoulders get heavy. Maybe there's a few shoulder circles. Coming back to that breath, inhaling, feeling the expansion through the chest and the lower abdomen. And then as you exhale, the head and the neck and the shoulders get heavy. Maybe there's a little movement left to right. Maybe a few more of those shoulder circles. One more breath just like that. Inhale, feeling the expansion. Exhale, take your time. Shoulders. Maybe a little movement left or right to the neck. Complete exhales. And then on your next inhale, finding extension through the spine, we'll start to lengthen through the front body, lifting the chest up. And then as you exhale, rounding through the upper back, maybe even pulling the knees in. Inhale, finding a little length. Exhale, round. Inhale, expanding through the front body. Exhaling, rounding through the upper back. 3 more rounds of breath, just like that. Inhaling, opening through the front. Exhaling, opening through the back. 2 more. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round. Last one. Inhale, open through the front. Exhale, open through the back. Coming back to neutral, and remember the legs can either be neutral or they can come out to a comfortable, easy seat, whichever one feels best for you, and know that you can move in between those at any time. And we'll start to move into a little lateral movement here. So grounding the left fingertips down outside of the left hand. Right fingertips reach up towards the ceiling with the palm facing left. On an inhale, sitting up nice and tall, and then as you exhale, the right fingers reach up and over to the left. Inhale back up through the center. Exhale, switch. Inhale, sitting up nice and tall. Exhale, reach. Inhale, center. Exhale, switch. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, over. Inhale, center. Exhale, switch. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, left fingertips reach up and over. Inhale, center. Exhale, switch. Last one on each side. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. Exhale, reach. Inhale, center. Exhale, switch. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, up and over. Coming back through the middle and removing the pillows if you use them. And we'll make our way to a tabletop. So finding the wrists underneath of the shoulders and the knees underneath of the hips. So making your way to the middle of the middle of your mat, wrists are underneath of the shoulders, knees are in the middle of the hips, and then just start by making little circles or big circles, whichever one. It's like you're tracing circles on the outsides of the fingertips. And then if you haven't already, go ahead and switch directions, just tapping into the wrist braces. Noticing the weight transferring from the outside of the hands to the insides of the hands. Noticing which fingers have weight in them and which fingers start to come up off of the mat. Coming back to neutral, spinning the right fingertips towards the right side of the room and the left fingertips towards the left side of the room, same circles. Noticing a difference in sensation. Maybe there's more sensation through the fronts of the wrists or the backs of the wrists. Pressing down through the tops of the shins and the tops of the feet. And then checking back in with that breath, noticing the inhales. Feeling the expansion through the chest, maybe even through the lower back. And as you exhale, pulling the belly button towards the spine. Inhale, finding expansion. Exhale, belly button pulls towards the spine. And then coming back to neutral, fingertips face forward. And then walking the hands out about a handprint and a half forward, we're going to take a downward facing dog, and it's our first downward facing dog and really our only downward facing dog. So I encourage you to keep the knees bent, and then if you ever need to come back down, if it's just not quite feeling right in your body, you can always come down onto the forearms and press the chest back, and you're getting almost the exact same opening. So know that that's always an option. So hands are out in front, fingertips are facing forward, outer three fingers are spreading out nice and wide, and the thumb is in neutral. From here, tuck the toes and just start by noticing, pressing down through the toes, and maybe there's a little sensation through the backs of the feet. On an inhale, start to firm up through the core, and then as you exhale, lifting the hips up and back, finding that first downward facing dog. And from here, maybe you're finding a little stillness as we come back to that breath, feeling the expansions on the inhales. And the head and the neck and the shoulders get heavy on the exhales. Or maybe there's even a pedal of the feet, alternating through bent and less bent through one and then the other. But moving with the breath, finding the inhales, noticing the expansion. And maybe even moving into that audible, it's as if you're fogging up a mirror breath on the exhale. And then we'll meet in a wide-legged forward fold with a deep bend. Maybe that means walking your hands towards your feet, or maybe walking your feet to your hands, or maybe even somewhere in the middle. But meeting in this wide-legged forward fold, keeping a deep bend in the knees, and then you can either bring the forearms onto the thighs, or you can let the arms hang nice and heavy. You might even put the palms on the ground, whichever one feels best for you, but either way, letting the head hang heavy. Maybe there's even a shake, yes or no, then open and close of the jaw. Maybe even coming back to that audible breath, it's as if you're fogging up a mirror on the exhales. Finding a little sway side to side. Feeling the weight transfer from the outside edges of the feet to the inside edges of the feet. Maybe even picking up the toes and feeling the arches engage and then placing them back down. Releasing the arms if you've grabbed opposite arms with opposite elbows, and then keeping a deep bend in the knees. Slowly make your way up to standing. Taking your time, feeling the arms get heavy. And then meeting at the top of your mat. I'll be doing the same side as you guys for our Warrior 2 sequence. So meeting at the top of your mat and then taking a big step back with the left foot. Big step back with the left foot, and then we're going to spin the back heel down so that the back edge of the foot is parallel with the back edge of the mat. Take a look down at that front knee. It should be directly above or even a little bit behind the ankle. It doesn't have to be all the way bent. It can be somewhere in the middle. Just try not to have your knee way over your toes. And then so finding maybe even working in between bent and straight and noticing the sensation in that front hip. You can keep the hands on the waist, or if you would like, you can extend the arms out from the shoulders. And then once you get there, the palms can either face down, but I encourage you to try facing the arms up and maybe even finding a bend in the elbows. Noticing how it allows the chest to open up a little bit more. And then coming back to that breath that we did at the beginning of the class, on an inhale, feeling the expansion. As you exhale, hold, lower the chin, and then letting it out audibly as you bring the head to neutral. Inhale, feeling the lower belly expand. Hold, chin to chest. Exhale, it's as if you're fogging up a mirror. Head comes back to neutral. Taking a few breaths here, maybe even flipping the palms up and down, noticing the difference. Maybe there's a little sensation in the hands. Maybe we play with opening and closing the palms. And then coming back up onto the ball of the back foot, you can bring your hands back onto your hips, and we'll make our way back up to the top of our mat. And you guys stay where you are. I'm going to go ahead and switch sides just so I can face you. And then this time taking a big step back with our right leg, coming up high onto the ball of the foot, spinning the back heel down so that the back edge of the foot is parallel with the back edge of the mat. And then checking in with that front knee. It's not super forward. It's either right on top or even a little bit behind. And then before we settle in, taking a little movement, the hands might even come onto the hips, working between bent and straight. And then settling into that bent knee, and then arms coming out by the sides, and maybe the palms are up, maybe the palms are down. Coming back to the breath, inhale, feeling expansion. Hold, chin to chest. As you exhale, it's as if you're fogging up a mirror. Head to neutral. Inhale, expansion. Hold, chin to chest. Exhale, fogging up a mirror, head comes back to neutral. 3 more rounds of breath here. Maybe we're staying in stillness. Maybe we're starting to play with expansion of the palms, maybe even making fists, flipping the palms over. Just finding a little sensation in the arms and the fingers. And then bringing the hands back onto the hips, come up high onto the ball of the back foot. Stepping up to the top of the mat, and then you guys stay where you are. I'm going to come back here so that I'm facing you. And then take a look down at the feet. We want the heels directly under the hips, and they're not quite as wide as we think we are. So walk them back in. Heels underneath of the hips. And then we're just going to take a little chair movement here. So on an inhale, sitting the hips down, bending through the knees. Arms are going to reach up, palms face one another. As you exhale, finding that forward fold, maybe hands come onto the shins. On an inhale, half lift, hands come onto the thighs. It's like you're making the number 7 or an upside down L. As you exhale, fold. On an inhale, sit the hips back, arms come up, chair. As you exhale, stand, arms come down. Inhale, chair. Exhale, gentle fold. Inhale that half lift or number 7 or upside down L. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chair, sitting the hips back, palms face one another. Exhale, stand. One more round just like that. Inhale, chair, sit. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chair. Exhale, stand. Great job. And we'll make our way all the way down onto our bellies. We're almost done for the night. And so I would recommend having one or both of your pillows nearby. You may use them, you may not. But we'll come all the way down, however that looks for you. And then bringing the hips all the way down, we'll start to work the elbows underneath of the shoulders, finding the forearms pressing down. And then I have tight shoulders, so my hands don't face directly in front of my elbows. They kind of come in a little bit, and that's okay. But just noticing here, we're opening up through the front body, so feeling the hip points press down. Feeling the sits bones or the tailbone reach towards the heels, creating a little bit of length through the lower back. Checking in with the shoulders, noticing if they've creeped up towards the ears, let them come back down. On your inhales, feeling the expansion of the abdomen. As you exhale, letting the shoulders get heavy. Maybe the head even comes down, finding a little sway side to side. Three more rounds of breath here, and whether or not that means finding stillness for you, each time you inhale, feeling the expansion through the lower abdomen, and on the exhales, finding a little heaviness, letting the mat or the carpet or the floor or a blanket, whatever is underneath of you, support you. Gently unwind. First, bring the forehead or the cheek back down onto the mat, just giving the lower back a little break for a second. And then hands come underneath the shoulders, and we're going to find that rounding through the upper back as we press down through the feet as we come through the bell. So really supporting ourselves as we come up. And then we'll make our way all the way down onto our backs. So once again, have that pillow nearby. You may need it, you may not. Coming all the way down onto the back. First, let the feet come out wide and the knees fall in towards one another. Maybe the arms come all the way up over the head. Maybe they're splayed out wide to the sides. Maybe the hands are over the belly, interlacing the fingers. And we were already on our backs once today, but notice if there's a difference. There's a little bit of less tension, a little less chatter. And if there's not, that's okay too. Or maybe there's a little more sensation than there was before. And then finding a bit of movement. Arms come up over the head. On an inhale, finding that expansion through the abdomen, then as you exhale, letting both knees fall down into the left. On an inhale, come back up through the middle. As you exhale, knees fall down into the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Last one, inhale, come back up through the middle. And then as you exhale, picking the right foot up and crossing the right ankle up and over the left knee. First, using the right hand to just give that right thigh or hip a little press. Sometimes we have to give it permission to release. Maybe there's a little sway back and forth. And then you can stay here, or if you would like, you can peel to the left foot towards the outer edge of the mat. And then leaving the legs exactly like they are, letting the left knee and the right foot fall down into the left. So we've got this figure 4 position, but we're in a little bit of a twist. And if that's too much, you can always come back up through the center. But wherever you are, feeling the inhales, finding the expansion, maybe even feeling the lower back press down into the mat underneath of you. And as you exhale, feeling the shoulders fall away from one another. 2 more rounds of breath exactly where you are. Feeling the expansion. And allowing a little release. After your next round of breath, making your way back up through the middle. Releasing the right leg. This time crossing the left ankle up and over the right knee. At first, just giving it a little press. And then you can stay here, or leaving the legs exactly like they are, but this time letting the right knee and the left foot fall down into the right. And if this doesn't feel right, you can always come back up through the middle, but wherever you are, coming back to the breath and just noticing. What does it feel like to inhale? And what does it sound like to exhale? Then switching perspectives, what does it sound like to inhale? And what does it feel like to exhale? Gently making your way back up through the middle. We'll come to our final resting, and you can start the exact same way, or you can end the exact same way as you started. Reclined, maybe the knees are bent and the soles of the feet are out wide and the knees together. Maybe the legs come all the way out to straight, or maybe it's somewhere in the middle. And you guys stay exactly where you are, finding that little bit of comfort, and I'm gonna make my way up to a comfortable seat. Wherever you are, taking a second to check in. Noticing the weight of the head pressing down into the mat. Maybe there's even a little rock left and right. Not only feeling the sensation change from the weight of the head, but also noticing a change in the sensation on either side of the neck as we move from left to right. And then coming back to stillness and making our way down, noticing the space across the chest. Seeing if there's a little bit of tension we might be able to release. Feeling the heads of the shoulders fall down and away from one another as the backs of the shoulders feel supported by whatever is underneath of you. It's almost as if the mat or the floor or the carpet is rising up to meet you and to hold you up. And then bringing your sensation to the mid-back. Moving down sensation to the lower back. And it doesn't have to feel good or it doesn't have to feel any certain way, it just feels. Bringing your awareness to the tops of the thighs and giving permission to the legs to release the knees. Sometimes we hold that up and we don't even notice we're doing it. Bringing your awareness to the lower half of the leg, the backs of the calves, and the fronts of the shins. And making your way down to the feet. If the knees are bent, feeling the mat or the carpet or the ground, whatever is underneath of them. And if the legs are straight, noticing the weight in the heels. Maybe even letting the toes fall away from one another. And taking a few breaths here. Feeling the inhales and the expansion and the release of the exhales. Thank you so much for joining us as part of Operation Remote Resilience and for sharing these 30 minutes with me here today. This is Christie, signing off in health, resilience,